Sure. Give me maybe 3 quick solutions that you've discovered to writer's block.
Writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
our good old friend writer's block.
Yeah, well, our friend writer's block, which was certainly our big enemy when we were doing the Song of the Day project.
Mm.
I mean, here we set out to do something where we wanted to release one song for every single day of the year. We built the website, we announced it to the world that we were going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and we had this external thing that we did not want to miss a day. And keep in mind with this project, we didn't wake up every day, write a song, and then release it. There are people who have done that, by the way,
Okay.
and the results are very inconsistent because they don't always execute the songs very well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have any time to polish it. Our goal was to write 365 songs, actually deliver as polished of a version of these things as we could. So if it needed a violin player or if it needed a cello player, we'd bring in a cello player.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had weekends where, because of the magic of multi-track recording, they'd come in and they'd record like 5-6 pieces
Okay.
at a time. So this is how it goes. And, my number one way to break out of that, the easiest way to do it, is that you set a quantity goal, not a quality goal. Quality goals are, first of all, they're very subjective. They're very hard to quantify so that you've hit a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
A quantity goal ensures that you actually complete something, and it gets rid of that little voice in your head that's the critic that tells you, hey, this sucks, this is no good, nobody's going to like this.
Mm-hmm.
That is your enemy when you're writing. The whole idea is to turn that off.
So I say, I'm going to write 5 songs today.
Yes.
I stop obsessing
Right.
over whether I think they're top 10 hits,
Mm-hmm.
and just say, I'm going to write 5 songs today, and that's it.
Right.
And I make it happen.
You make it happen. And
Fantastic.
you need the best thing is to have an external driver to do it. We had the
Mhm.
wolf at our door, which was we did not want to miss a day. So we'd get together and say, we have 10 songs to write this weekend. We're getting together, we will write 10 songs. It's not that we record it and finish them.
Mhm.
Those were separate processes.
Mhm.
And we scheduled those. It's that we were going to write 10 songs. And it could be ideas that we'd had before that we pull out, sometimes to get started and seed the tip jar, and sometimes it's something that, hey, I just, heard you say something, I'm like, that's funny, we're gonna do that.
Wow. Now, why do you think that phenomenon is, though? What is it about that approach that makes it work?
I'll tell you why I think that's the case. There's a book that I read once called The Talent Code.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fascinating book. I highly recommend it for everybody who wants to know how the brain works.
Okay.
And the way that we learn is similar to how our muscles grow, which is to say that your muscles, when you strain them, they break, they get these little micro tears,
Mm-hmm.
and then what grows over them is more muscle.
Right.
Right. So the way your brain works is that when you fail at something, when you actually strain yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it covers it over with something called myelin. And myelin is basically the stuff that makes the neurons fire a lot faster. The more myelin you have in particular areas of your brain, the better it is. The more connections you have, and the faster those connections go. So you need to practice it a lot. You need to strain yourself. You need to push it to the edge, which is why you could literally have a lifetime of failure and then start succeeding. It's because that is when you grow.
Wow.
Now, the reason why that happens is you're literally just doing it more often. If you're going to just try and make one piece, you're actually not practicing enough, as it were. You're not
Okay,
actually
see, now that
in the
makes
trenches.
all the sense in the world to me.
Mhm.
All the sense in the world to me, because it's the same way. Like when we woodshed,
Mhm.
there's a lick we have to get, and for the life of you, you can't get it.
Right.
For the life of you, you just want to break whatever's around you until you keep doing it.
Right.
And you have to make yourself keep doing it until one day it's like magic. It's like your fingers are like, oh yeah, this isn't a problem.
Failure is how you grow. And when you're talking about a creative endeavor, that means being brave enough to get out there and get beyond that. And that's why I think this works. I mean, going back to your earlier question,
Mhm.
it comes down to getting rid of the critic, because you have to make it so that the critic is trying to help you not fail. It's trying to protect you,
Mhm. Okay.
right? That's
Mhm.
its goal. That's what it's trying to do. Somewhat admirable. I guess it can save your life in evolutionary terms
Mhm.
in our distant past as whatever we were as human beings before. But as for when you're being creative, and you just need to actually stretch your neck out there and get it going. The way you do that is that the critic doesn't help you create a lot of things. It tries to make one thing really good. It tries to do the other one.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's what I mean. You need to silence a critic. I really think you're saying the top 3 ways, that's the way I would do it.
Okay. Okay.
If you want the other things I would do after that, it's that you do need editing. You need that editor. You need that critic, but you need it afterwards.
Mm.
You actually have to barf everything on the page and just get the quantity out there.
Mhm.
There's a good book about writing that has the same topic called Writing Down the Bones
Mhm.
that I recommend.
Okay.
And it applies to songwriters just like it applies to writers. And what she suggests in that book, I can't remember the author right now, but I can give it to you afterwards, is you set a time every day and you write. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad or whatever.
Mhm.
You must write every day.
Mhm.
And that's how you improve.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
So there's one other thing that I'd like to bring up about that.
Okay.
And this is one thing that I realized while we were doing our Song of the Day project. When you turn off that critic in your head,
Mhm.
and when you, every little idea that you have has to grow up into something,
Mhm.
and they're all seeds. You can't think of them as finished things. They're seeds. You can plant them and they'll grow. You know,
Right,
it comes
right.
back later.
Right.
But what I learned was there is a reason for every creative urge that you have.
Okay.
You don't know what that reason is,
Mhm.
but there's a reason for it. And so you just need to let it go. It's okay.
Well, what I've learned with songs in particular is the way I see it in my mind is that the muse is running around
Mm.
planting those ideas and planting those seeds because they're trying to burst stuff in the
Mm.
earth.
Yeah.
And we, as writers, we have our antenna up. When you don't pay attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
about 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to hear that idea somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you're going to hear a song, you're going to hear something, you're going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I thought of that. Okay,
Yeah.
but you didn't take it seriously.
Right.
You didn't pay attention to it. And that's what made me start learning how to capture. Take it seriously. Whatever it is, whether I develop it or not,
Yeah.
I've got it. And whenever I need to go back to it, I caught it.
Yeah.
And one of my most famous experiences was that I will never forget is I lost one of the most beautiful songs.
Oh, what
Because
happened? What happened?
I had a dream about it.
Oh, I've had some dream songs I could never get.
I had a dream about it.
I've had
and
that happen.
I heard the whole thing. And the eerie part about it was, up until that point, it was just music.
Mm.
And I put it together and just kind of wrote the music.
Mhm.
And I almost wrote it. It was really an etude. It was really a practice song. I was
Okay.
like, I want to string some chords together because I need to get used to playing them.
Yeah.
And that's really all it was.
Uh-huh.
And then I had this dream that was fully tricked out with lyrics.
Oh.
I was like, holy cow.
Uh-huh.
And when I woke up, I was like, I'll get to it later.
Yeah,
Oh!
no, don't do that.
Oh!
Don't
No
don't
play
do
for
a
Mr.
Cole
Gray.
don't do a Coleridge basically.
Yeah, it was
Coleridge
that-
play.
That was terrible.
Have you ever woken up hearing a song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All the time.
That happens to me too. And I've had some, and I couldn't capture it. I could hardly sing it. I don't know. You know how it's sometimes it's too far away from reality for me to actually get the notes out.
Well, I started repeating. I started using the same technique when you're trying to remember a phone number.
Yeah,
You have to keep saying it.
that's
Like
smart.
somebody, quotes you on the phone, this is the number, and you don't write it down, so you just keep saying it.
Yeah.
Then you dial it.
Right.
That's what I do.
Smart.
So if I'm dreaming, I wake up, or anytime I catch something, I just keep saying it.
I'll remember that technique.
Yeah, and like if I can hear some melody notes, I'll be like, bah, 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 okay.
It's
Then it
great.
gets stuck in my head. Then I can capture it somewhere, then I've got it.
Yeah.
But holy cow, the stuff I've lost.
Yeah.
Missed songs sometimes feel like lottery tickets. Like,
Yeah.
that was a winner, I know it was a winner.
What are you gonna do? You just have to keep making more, and maybe it'll come back. Or
That's true. That's true. All right, well, I'll be optimistic then. Maybe it'll come back. Now, tell me this.
Yeah.
What songwriting organizations are you a part of?
I'm a member of ASCAP,
Mm-hmm.
and
Now, explain what ASCAP is.
sure, ASCAP is it's a publishing organization that allows you to track when songs are performed. Performance Rights Organization, or PRO, is what they're often called.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular case, and this is what gets very confusing for a lot of musicians, I spend a lot of time in front of students teaching this one,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to understand that when you make a new original work, and I always like to say, original doesn't mean it's good, it means that it's yours. Nobody else has come up with it before, and you
Mhm.
record that, you actually get 2 copyrights in one.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't understand that. Right away they're lost. But the thing that you need to know is that one of it is this composition, which is this, esoteric thing that has no solid form that can be covered many, many, many different times.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a sound recording, and that sound recording can also be copyrighted.
Mm-hmm.
What most musicians haven't run into is the fact that both of them have entirely different lives in terms of what you can license.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, they have entirely different performance royalties that you can make on them.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to a performance rights organization for the compositions, I belong to ASCAP, and part of the reason I belong to ASCAP is they have a program called ASCAP Plus,
Mhm.
which allows you, as a musician that may not get everything played on major radio stations, they nevertheless have a way for you to submit things to them so that you can make a check off of things that might get played a little less often.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones, some of them have similar programs, but I've had a lot of luck with that one.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
And of course, Sound Exchange is what you belong to for the sound recording.
Mhm. So let me ask you this. This is probably our final question.
Okay.
What would be your advice to aspiring songwriters, people that are just starting out,
Mhm.
said, I want to get into this thing, I know that this is what I want to do.
Mm.
What would you say to them?
That's an easy one. Write. I'm serious. It's really, if you want to be a songwriter, then
Mhm.
write songs. Write a lot of songs. The lead singer of our band and the co-author of the book, Jason, had this shoebox of tapes back from the Porta Studio days.
Wow.
And it was, I mean, there were hundreds and hundreds of songs in there.
Mhm.
Before we even got together and became a band in 1997, and long before we did Song of the Day.
Mhm.
And guess what? A lot of the songs we did for Song of the Day, if we were running short of ideas, he went into that. He's like, there was a song, flip, 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 and he found it.
Mhm.
And it might have had like a couple pieces that he could use. Everything becomes compost for later. And it's just about the same thing that I was talking about earlier to break your writer's block.
Mhm.
Write. You have nothing to promote and nothing to do if you don't have the songs in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely correct. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure, and I'm glad I got a chance to expose our audience to all the wonderful ideas and to the genius and the creativity and the worlds of experience that you bring. So I can't thank you enough for being here.
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I'm really excited about it. I'm actually really looking forward to watching all the other episodes myself.
Fantastic. Well, you're going to be hearing more from me and Randy. I guarantee you that. So thanks for tuning in. That's our show today. And remember my motto: never stop writing. Blase blue da bleep blop blue.